Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the community adjustment meeting for July for the town of Tecumseh. All the committee members are here except for Lori, and she's working tonight. Got a new boss, so she's got to work tonight. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Okay, thank you. And minutes of the May 29th meeting were pre-circulated. Any motion, addition, deletion, correction? Motion, Tom? And Dennis? Doug, jeez. I practiced all day on that too. Doug. Yeah, well, I started with a D. That's what I was trying to remember. Anyway. Okay, all in favor? Carried unanimously. The first application this evening is an application for consent on 13931 Riverside Drive. Is someone here to speak to that?
Jerry Goldberg on behalf of the applicant. The applicants are here.
Okay. Sit there and Donna will read the application.
Application for consent DOA 23 LGB Family Holdings Inc., 13931 Riverside Drive. The purpose of the application is to request consent to sever a residential lot having a frontage of 13.41 meters, 44 feet, a depth of 45.72 meters, 150 feet, and a lot area of 613 square meters, 6,600 square feet, outlined in red on the sketch. The proposed retained lot has a frontage of 14.02 meters, 46 feet, a depth of 45.72 meters, 150 feet, and a lot area of 641 square meters, 6,900 square feet, outlined in green on the attached sketch. The applicant is proposing to construct a semi-detached dwelling unit. As a condition of the consent approval, the existing dwelling located on the property will be required to be demolished. The land's designated residential in the official plan and zoned residential R2-8 in zoning bylaw 2065. Correspondence received from engineering that the applicant be required to service the parcel to be severed with a separate water supply to the satisfaction of the Town of Tecumseh Water Services Division prior to the severance being finalized. Separate water service connections will be required for both new units. Note, permits from the Town of Tecumseh Water Services Division are required, and a town operator must be on site during the installation of the water service. That the applicant be required to service the parcel to be severed with separate sanitary and stormwater connections to the satisfaction of the Town of Tecumseh Public Works Division prior to the severance being finalized. Separate sanitary service connections will be required for both new units. That the applicant be required to provide an engineered drainage and grading plan prepared by a qualified professional engineer for both parcels to the satisfaction of the Town of Tecumseh Building Department prior to the severance being finalized. That the applicant, developer, or future home builder be required to obtain permits from the Town of Tecumseh Public Works Division, install separate access driveways in accordance with the Town of Tecumseh standards from Riverside Drive to both new units prior to the commencement of driveway construction within the town's right-of-way. Public Works and Environmental Services notes the presence of a number of mature trees located in the front yard area of the subject lot. Any trees found to be located within the town-owned right-of-way are subject to the town's tree maintenance and removal policy. Accordingly, removal or maintenance of any town-owned trees required to facilitate the severance or lot development may be denied in accordance with the policy. All costs of servicing requirements will be at the expense of the applicant. The building department, the design of the homes must meet OBC requirements. Fire services had no comments. IRCA's comments are as follows. The property owner will be required to obtain a permit from ERCA prior to any construction or site alteration or other activities affected by Section 28 of the Conservation Authorities Act, and all applicable hazard land requirements for development must be satisfied. The low-lying nature of the roadway in this area may result in approximately 0.7 meters of water the road in a flooding event. ERCA advises that the town of Tecumseh and the municipal emergency services, fire and police confirmed that they have the ability to access this parcel in order to fulfill the roles and responsibilities of first responders during times of flooding and in order to fulfill the municipality's responsibility under Section 3.1.7 of the Provincial Policy Statement 2020. Thank you.
Okay. At this point, I usually ask the proponent, do you have anything you want to add for the committee's benefit?
We've read in detail the planner's report. We concur with and agree with all the comments Chad has made, and point out that the zoning complies with all the town's requirements. This is novel. It's going to be an interesting, the outline it's beautiful. It'll fit in with the decor of the Riverside Drive. And the applicants look forward to receiving consent and proceeding fairly quickly with building.
Okay, thank you. Are there some in the audience that would like to speak to this? Okay, there's a young lady in the back. Could you come up here to the mic, please? Your name and address, please. Push the button. There you go.
My name is Arla Peters and I live at 13934 Riverside Drive East, across the street from the proposed new development. And I don't have any specific objection to the severance. I just, perhaps I need some clarification and then maybe add a condition to the approval if it's not clarified. And that is, in the original submission for the change in the bylaw to allow for the development of this particular semi-detached property, it did talk about in the future that the property would allow for the future subdivision of the subject property. So a future subdivision along the common wall dividing the semi-detached dwelling. So each half would be on its own property. So I don't have an objection with that, but the way I read the requirement now for severing it now before construction has begun, I would like to know that another condition of that consent should also include that in fact the semi-detached dwelling unit is constructed. Because I would hate to see that it's severed and then suddenly that development falls through and we have 244 and 46 foot lots that are now separate. Okay, so maybe it's covered in the bylaw itself, and that was my clarification I was seeking. Otherwise, I have no objection to the.
Okay, we'll get some help from Chad.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, and it's a good point to raise. The bylaw, however, does address that. So it does allow for a single unit dwelling to be constructed on the entirety of the property, subject to different zone provisions from the semi-detached. So it's clear that the semi-detached dwelling can be built and it's subject to different lot area and lot frontage and interior side width provisions. But that's only for the semi-detached. If the applicants change their mind, decided to build a single unit dwelling, they'd have to comply with the general R2 provisions, which require larger lot area, larger lot frontage.
So that's covered within the bylaw.
Yeah.
I read it and I wasn't certain, so I
Yeah,
thought I
it's-
just wanted to be certain of that.
And I'm prepared to advise that their intent is to build both at the same time.
Right.
Two permits,
makes sense.
construction, same time.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? No, okay, committee? Questions? Tom?
Yeah, through your chair, I was just wondering if you had site plan or elevations of what the unit looks like? Yeah. uh, So where's the second garage? So one has a front entrance, one has a front garage, and one has a side garage.
This may show it better. With the garage front side.
Okay.
It's hard to say just from the sketch.
Yeah, the driveway's in the wrong spot on this one.
This may have been the original. Yes, it is. It would come around.
Mhm.
Want to see the plans they've drawn? I think you have the understanding, you are correct, that shows the driveway in the front. Which side.
That's fine. Thank you.
The committee all understands the driveway on this going in the side, right? Anybody else? Tony?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I guess my question would be either for administration or the applicant. Seeing that garage door being on the side, would all the other provisions of that R2-8 be met with landscape open space, or has that yet been checked?
Through Mr. Chair, yeah, all the other provisions of the zone, the special zone, R2-8 zone are complied with.
Any other questions? Seeing none, is anybody ready to make a motion on this one? Don't all chip in at once, okay? Tony,
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we accept the severance application B0820 the severance application B0823 with the recommended conditions.
supported by Paul? Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Minor. The minor variance on County Road 46. Come on up. Whoever's going to talk. Yep.
Hello, my name is Phil Fernandez. I'm here for the applicant.
Donna will read the application. Donna will read the application.
Application for minor variance A0923 Super Lighting and Decor, Inc., 4585 County Road 46. The purpose of the application is to request relief from the following subsections of zoning bylaw 85-18. Subsection 14.1.10C establishes a minimum rear yard depth of 7.5 meters, 24.6 feet, and subsection 14.1.16 establishes that no parking other than a maximum of 6 visitor parking spaces shall be permitted in the front yard. In order to facilitate the construction of additional warehousing, the applicant is requesting relief to permit a 0.6 meter, 2-foot rear yard depth and 10 parking spaces to be located in the front yard. The property is designated business park in the official plan and zoned industrial M1 in zoning bylaw 85-18. The following correspondence was received. Engineering. Town engineering has no comments regarding the requested minor variance. Public Works and Engineering Services is presently working with the owner and its consultants regarding site servicing and stormwater management as part of the site plan control process in relation to the construction of a proposed building addition at this address. It should be noted that the applicant's plan proposes the removal of existing fencing and concrete from the town's own lands located to the rear of the subject parcel. It is the town's expectation that all items presently situated within this area be completely removed as part of the work, and that this area be fully restored with topsoil and grass. Urquhart's comments. The property owner will be required to obtain a permit from the Essex Region Conservation Authority prior to any construction or site alteration or other activities affected by Section 28 of the Conservation Authorities Act, and all applicable hazard land requirements for development must be satisfied. The low-lying nature of the roadway in this area may result in 0.72 meters of water across the flooding area. IRCA advises that the town of Tecumseh and municipal emergency services, fire police confirm that they have the ability to access this parcel in order to fulfill the roles and responsibilities of first responders. The building department, owner to provide a septic analysis from a qualified septic installer to confirm the system is in good operating order and in compliance with the Ontario Building Code. The current system shall be able to sustain the proposed addition loading based on proposed addition or provide a application at time of permit for new septic system. The encroachment of the lot line at the rear will need to be reviewed for OBC requirements at time of design to ensure fire resistant ratings and spatial separation requirements are met. No comments from fire. Thank you.
Okay. Again, do you have anything the committee should know that we can't read in the application?
No, I think that most of the reasoning for this is we are aware that there is a lot of stuff, car parts, etc., in and around the area, and that's why we are building this. It is our intent to move all of that indoors. It's going to clean everything up. We did leave 2 feet. We're asking for relief up to 2 feet of the rear yard setback in order to work on the back if there's any siding or anything that needs repair, so we're not going on to off the property there. And I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak to this? Or is that your partner back there or something?
Yeah, that's the owner.
Okay, oh, the owner. Okay. Questions from the committee? Tom?
Just through you, Mr. Chair, to the architect, I guess. So the back of the site, it looks like it was a auto yard or truck repair depot.
That's correct.
So that's no longer part of the operation?
It is still the same. It is still the same use. We're not asking for a use change.
And the portion outside at the back, that's all being removed?
Correct.
And the trucks, so the trucks are all staying there and it's just more of it's being incorporated indoors?
Correct.
Okay.
Anybody else?
All right, thank you.
Through you. Is the height that can maintain the same height that it is now, or is it going to increase the height on the rear building?
It is our intent to match the ridge height that's there now. It will not be any higher. Now, the wall, because it'll be a gable end, may be a little bit higher towards the rear of the property, but no, the building will not be taller than the building is now.
Doug?
Through Mr. Chair, one of the comments made from the building department was that the septic system had to be analyzed. Has that been done yet? Or are you just waiting for the outcome of this to do that?
That's correct. We have to finish the design before we actually figure out what the septic systems, what the load on it will be. But for right now, it's just, we're just extending the repair portion of the building.
Chad?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to bring to the committee's attention the recommend conditions, which we are proposing, administration is proposing be addressed through the requisite site plan control agreement. And there's 4 things that we want addressed in that agreement, which would be signed by the owners. And then once it's signed by the owners, the variance would come into effect. And that's that adequate access to the rear yard be provided to facilitate the construction and for future maintenance. That stormwater management to be addressed. That area that's currently used for the storage of, it looks like parts and there's a couple trucks on there, be cleared and grassed so that because that is part of, that's the municipality's right of way. It's not their property. And then finally, that septic analysis that Member Muscadet referred to be done and approved by the town administration. So all those things are to be addressed through the site plan control agreement, and then the variance would come into effect at that point.
Can I ask, I'm looking at the site, well, what's up there? I'm trying to figure out where the property boundary are.
The property boundary is the double dash line around where it's
Okay.
in yellow. It's kind of highlighted in yellow.
Right. I remember we had an application on this property to permit the repair of semi trucks, right? The cabs. Is that what's going on in the front or?
They do repair semi trucks here, yes.
And I remember some concern at that meeting about parking. And about the thing came up about, well, are you going to repair trailers? And they said, no. So it was only cabs. And when I go by there now, going to the mall or whatever I'm going for, the vehicles seem to be parked pretty solidly right up to the road. As a matter of fact, and even in this, there's vehicles parked outside that dotted line on the front. And that was one of the concerns, I think, before. So I'm wondering about the second business that's in there. It's supper, lighting and decor. Is that the second business, or is this still the truck business we're talking about?
This is, to the best of my knowledge, the truck business and only the truck business.
Okay,
Now, you did
So-
make, go ahead,
so
sorry.
the company name is just confusing. That's what I'm getting at. The company name on the application is Supper Lighting and Decor Incorporated. Can you help me?
Hi, I'm Gurpreet Chana. I'm wife of the owner. The Super Lighting Decor Inc. is the holding company, and the operation business is Interstate Truck Center.
Okay, so the activities in the addition are going to be,
It's just the operating company is different. We have the holding company who owns the property. But holding company doesn't do any business, it's the operating company, but the owners and the directors are the same.
Okay,
Mhm.
so the activities in this new building are going to support the truck repair business.
It's the existing business. We just need to expand to run the business properly.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. It's helpful. Paul?
Through Mr. Chair, this is a question to Chad. Chad, maybe you can explain exactly the boundary in the back and then what is going to be supposed to be removed and brought inside. Imagine for fire service or access to the back of the building in case there's an emergency. I just see like lots of debris in the back. So maybe you can just point that out a little better for me.
And thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. I may need some assistance from the applicant or the applicant's agent, but if you look up on the screen now, and if you can see that, this area here, so this is the rear lot line, and this is sort of an upside down. This is actually looking up is south, and to the north is County Road 46. You can see the 46 down in the corner. That property that is south of the yellow lot line is municipally owned. It's a municipally owned right of way. Used to serve a streetcar, I think back in the day, a long time ago. And then beyond that is the railway, former railway, which has recently been sold to IRCA for a future greenway. So there's plenty of space to the south of this. It's the property that's immediately butting it that the municipality wants cleared of any debris and then sodded, grassed, brought back to that condition. We can use site plan control to achieve all the design improvements to the site that we want to, and then ensure that the activities on that site are conducted in accordance with the agreement. So the agreement will add some control to the property. It's a truck repair business. There's no other business on site. Yeah, and it's becoming more and more in demand out there. The trucking operations, trucking services, repair, that sort of thing in that area along County Road 46 in particular. So there's definitely a need for it. And we believe that what they're doing here will help improve the state of the site. And we believe it meets the 4 tests established in the Planning Act as well.
Any other questions?
Through you, Mr. Chair, my question, I guess, would be for Chad management. It says the removal of fencing, paving, outside storage. Would the site plan control agreement include possibly the installation of a fence on the property line to permit any future encroachments into that municipally owned portion?
That's possible. I think we'd have to look at the, sort of weigh the positive and negative aspects of that having a fence back there. And maybe it's a fence in only certain locations to prevent the storage from piling up again once we've left the process, right? But the site plan will always be present because it'll be registered on the title of the lands. So we'd at least have that tool to ensure that it doesn't happen. But that is something we'll take a look at. See if fencing is appropriate.
Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Chad, maybe you can answer this question. So as part of the site plan control, they have to show or demonstrate appropriate stormwater control and additional septic. Where right now is the septic bed? How's that? And where is the stormwater? Seems you're decreasing the opportunity for any stormwater containment.
Okay, thank you for the question. Through you, Mr. Chair. Again, looking at the screen, the existing septic field bed is to the east of the property in this location here. And in terms of stormwater management, there probably is not any formal stormwater management. It's under site plan control now. I mean, again, the applicant could speak to that, but they would be required to address stormwater in accordance with the recently approved Old Castle stormwater management master plan. And it may require some, underground storage or just some changing of the grading of the parking area to ensure that that the quantity is addressed at the very least, and then quality can be addressed through a number of means, but it would have to be addressed to engineering satisfaction and in accordance with the Old Castle Stormwater Plan.
Thank you.
I have a question about the sewers. Is there not sanitary sewers coming to that area?
I don't know what the timing is of sanitary sewers in this area, but it's a little beyond the immediate future, I'd say. But yeah, ultimately there'll be sanitary sewers down 46, because that's to the east of this property, and the north side of the road is the growth area for the Old Castle Industrial Park.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Anybody else? Well, it seems to be supported by administration. They think it's workable. We haven't discovered anything, so can we have a motion? Doug,
Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forth acceptance for application A0923 while meeting all requirements set forth by a municipality and the water department, and the 4 items that Chad met that must be agreed to upon except for putting forth the minor variance.
seconder. Tom? Is site plan control a condition or it's just a given?
It's a given, but it's also recommended that
Okay.
those 4 items in particular be addressed through the site plan control agreement. It'll address other things, but those are the 4 items that we believe should be made a condition of this severance. And I think Member Petrie didn't mention that approval is in accordance with the recommended conditions.
Okay. On the motion, all in favor? Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Were we thorough enough?
I just have a last question. If the requirement for fencing is approved or is decided, whose responsibility it will be? It will be ours or the town's?
That typically would be your responsibility as the landowner / developer.
Okay,
If
thank
I-
you.
A follow-up question there. How many times have we required the fence be put in? How many times was it forced to be put in?
Through Mr. Chair, that's kind of a broad-based question, Mr. Finnes. I understand what you're getting at, but yeah, I can't really answer that. It depends. We look at each application and assess it on its own merits and its own circumstances. So yeah, I can't say for sure whether that would be a condition of it or not. We'll have those discussions in the negotiation of the site plan agreement.
Thanks for your patience. And now we have, last but not least, a deferral, okay. Donna,
Application for minor variance A0823, 654 LaButte Street. The purpose of the application is to request relief from subsection 5.251C, which establishes that accessory structures over 10 square meters, 107.6 square feet in area shall not be closer than 1.22 meters, 4 feet to any lot line. The applicant is seeking relief for an existing 19.5 square meter, 210 square foot gazebo that was constructed 0.6 meters, 2 feet from the southerly lot line. The property is designated residential in the official plan and zoned R2 in zoning bylaw 1746. The application was deferred at the request of administration at the May 29th, 2023 Committee of Adjustment meeting to further consider issues related to the compliance of the gazebo fireplace structure with other town bylaws. Comments and correspondence are as follows. Engineering, the town engineer has no comments regarding the requested minor variance. The building department, owner to provide WETT Wood Energy Technology Transfer certification for the installation of the fireplace and to call for a final inspection. Fire services, the fireplace was constructed under previous open burn bylaws and was in compliance with the requirements at that time. Outdoor fireplaces are under the current bylaw where the firebox does not exceed 1.5 meters in any dimension. No objections to this fireplace. IRCA's comments, the property is outside the regulated area and is under the jurisdiction of IRCA or is not under the jurisdiction of IRCA, and approval will not be required for this application. Thank you.
Well, you saw the routine. Is there anything we should know?
No, I mean, I apologize for the misunderstanding. Yeah, I wasn't aware. I instructed the indirectly gone through the town and it was approved by the gazebo. And I was told that I required a permit. But then once I constructed the gazebo, which I was aware of, I installed my pool, and then that's when they brought to my attention that in my drawing for my pool permit that I required. So that's why I applied.
Okay. Moral support here. Yes. Questions from the committee?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the applicant. On the east side of the gazebo, which is 2 feet from the neighbor's lot line, am I right?
No, south side.
South side is 2 feet.
Yes,
And have you done anything to mitigate water runoff or to capture any water that might go onto his property?
yes. So I do have, I guess, a berm I created, was a retaining wall with clay. So it does stay on my property. I do have strip drains, but it does stay on my side.
Okay.
Good question. We always worry about that. Anybody else? Paul?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the applicant, is there any neighbors that have anything to say about your chimney?
No, so my neighbor directly abutting on the south side has sent an email to Rico, stating that he's completed it and that customer should.
Okay. Tom?
Who did the letters get sent to?
It was an email to Rico, I believe.
To the town, or
Yes, well, it would have been to his,
is there a letter?
Yeah, he's referring to Enrico DeCecco in the planning department. I do recall this. I don't see it, it didn't make its way into our report. Donna, you don't have. I do recall Enrico mentioning that. Apologies, Mr. Chair. I don't know where that email is. Jim McDougall?
Yeah, this Enrico, so initially I had a meeting. Initial one.
Right.
So 2 days prior, or 2 days prior, within the Friday, Enrico had brought it new, and I asked him, he happened to be there, and I asked him, if there's anything I can do to assist this to get more information. If you can, talk to your buddy and have him email me. So immediately I went there and said, and then he emailed me back. Thank you.
In any case, you would have been circulated, your neighbor would have been circulated on this application.
Possibly.
So he was well aware of what was going on.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to add something to that as well. One of the neighbors at 630 Lebutte did indicate verbally, he didn't submit a written notice, but he did contact me indicating that he was opposed to the minor variance due to potential water runoff as a result of the structure.
Okay, thanks for that. It's quite a ways away.
Yeah, yeah.
Through your chair. So did you build the shed first?
I did, yes,
And that was permitted?
yes.
And then you built the barbecue or the fireplace
Yes.
and that was permitted?
So no, it wasn't. Initially, I built the fireplace. The way this happened, I built the fireplace and then my neighbor contacted me, he was concerned with seeing the fire coming out of the house 3 times that week. Just asking whether everything was okay. So I wasn't aware of this. I was at work at the time. So I had talked to somebody from the town just to kind of understand what was going on. And I was told that there was an open burn called, but it wasn't to my address. But whoever called the open burn said that I built a fireplace, but potentially it was me. So the fire department had come to my house. This is what I understand from what I was told, that the fire department had come to my house. They looked at it, assuming just firefighting crew, left, contacted Bob Hamilton, which I believe at the time was FPO, fire prevention officer, so he'd come out, or chief at the time, or fire prevention. So he'd come out. I don't know exactly, I apologize, this is kind of the notes that I given. He'd come out, took a look at it, was concerned structure-wise, took pictures, and then sent it. And I want to say it was a Mike Blasi, if I'm not mistaken. And looked at these pictures and approved it. Said, yeah, I don't see any issue with it, it's no problem. So I assumed that everything was okay. Because it wasn't attached to my house and it doesn't have closed walls, that I didn't require a permit. And that's where I apologize, because I wish I came here and just said, okay, this is what's going on. Then I built the gazebo. Still assuming everything was okay. And then once I applied for my pool permit, actually, it dawned on me, it's like, okay, what are these structures in my picture? And then that's where I'd said my fireplace in my shed. My shed is fine. My fireplace where I had open permit. And
The gazebo was permitted?
like, that's what I'm dealing with now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a gazebo attached to the fireplace.
Okay.
And so is building prepared to approve the gazebo as designed and constructed?
Through Mr. Chair, yes, building is. There was the building department did submit comments, so indicating that wood and energy technology transfer certification would be necessary and a call for final inspection on that.
So just the electrical to supply to it? Or?
I have a space here for
A wet,
I do have electrical, that's the thing, I did electrical inspection. So that's to improve my pollution.
But it will be a condition of approval.
That's what you're talking about, right?
we're recommending, Mr. Chair, sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, that the owner provide what's called a WET in short, wood energy technology transfer certification for the installation of the fireplace. That's what the building department is asked for.
Just a sec.
And we're recommending that as a condition.
Doug?
But
Through you, Mr. Chair. If they're going to require, for myself, before I would vote on a recommendation, I would like maybe the Public Works or whoever would go out and look to see this berm or that it's built to acceptable so that water runoff. I mean, that there could be another neighbor move in and it might not be what should have been done. I think the town should go at least if it's something that's feasible to go and look at that retainment of the water on that 1-2 foot lot from the lot line.
Chad, how do we word that in our
Um,
condition?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, we typically do address those where there's the, a possibility of concern of runoff through requiring the provision of a lot grading plan to the satisfaction of the chief building official.
Right.
So we can add that as a condition. I also want, if the committee desires to do that, I also want to point out that I do have the email from Jim McDougall. It was added as part of the previous report on this when it was deferred. Didn't make its way into our staff report this time. It says, my name is Jim McDougall at 658 Lebutte. I have no problem with my neighbor Ken Linwood at 654 Lebutte and his application for a variance.
Okay. So that's the neighbor on the, with the narrow, yeah, okay. Okay, so we'll add that as a condition that the building department look at it. Probably propose another solution if they're not satisfied. Anybody else? Anybody else? Motion. Thomas.
Through your chair, I was at the property this afternoon and it's constructed in a way that's I think, conducive to both good construction and good planning on the applicant's part. I hear that the conditions about grading to the south and to the east. And so I concur with that as a condition of the approval, but be prepared to make a motion to approve application 8A-08-23, as I think it meets the 4 tests and I think the applicant's done a good job.
Doug, seconder. Any other question? All in favor? Carried. Unanimous. Okay. You're good. Chad?
Mr. Chair, I would recommend that the applicant make an appointment with the building department and we can go from there.
Okay.
Preferably during a rainstorm. Preferably during a rainstorm.
Yes. Yesterday.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so there's no unfinished business. There would have been new business had I gotten the slide decks from the conference sooner. There is something that we need to do as a committee. I attended a session where the presenter was a lawyer who knows about the Planning Act and Committee of Adjustment, of course, and all that. She's invited there to talk to us. And she pointed out that the Committee of Adjustment is not a committee of council. It's a committee that stands apart from council. And we've always operated as if the committee was a committee of council and operates under the sort of rules of order and conditions and so on that any other committee has. But we're a little different because we're a judicial committee. And that means that we can be challenged, for instance, on conflict of interest. It's not a pecuniary interest that's our problem. It's an interest to determine that we don't have a bias. If there's some kind of perception of bias in sitting at a hearing, like a judge, it's a recusal, really. We call it a declaration of interest, but we should call it something else, like a declaration of possible bias or something. I just got the slide decks from the conference today. And thanks, Donna. And I'll bring something next time and maybe have a talk with Chad about looking at all our rules of procedure and so on, to see that they're consistent with thinking about the committee in that light. Okay, so that's one thing I learned. Donna learned some things. Maybe she'll have some things to tell us, but we'll do that at the next meeting. Okay, and I'm hoping that I can get something in a report form to give you before the meeting. All right. And is there any new business that any of the members have? Seeing none. Is there someone who wants to move adjournment? Everybody? Nobody? Tom? Tony? All in favor? Say goodnight. Who's buying lunch? No, I'm just kidding. All right, thank you.
Are we done recording?